Okay, today we're going to be doing evaluating piecewise functions. A piecewise function is a function that is defined by two or more different equations applied to different parts of the function's domain. So, in our example, I have f of x equals 4x minus 2 if x is less than negative 2. F of x equals x squared plus 1 if x is between negative 2 inclusive and 2 exclusive. And f of x equals negative x plus 6 if x is greater than or equal to 2. So I have three functions all in one, and they have different domains. What I mean by domains is the x values. There's constraints. Here are my constraints. So when I ask you to evaluate, you're going to be doing function notation just like you did on the first day. We're going to plug in those numbers, but you have to pick the right function. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to call it number 1. So on number 1, I have f of negative 3. How do you figure out which function to plug it into? Well, I do that by looking at my constraints. Is negative 2 smaller? Is negative 3 smaller than negative 2? The answer is yes. So for number 1, I must use the first one because negative 3 is less than negative 2. So for x minus 2, I replace the x with a negative 3. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Minus 2, the answer is negative 14. So f of negative 3 is negative 14. Now I'm going to do f of 0. What I need to do is figure out which function it is. Well, 0 is between negative 2 and 2. So I have to use the one in the middle. Zero squared is 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. So I use the one in the middle. Now for number 3. The first thing I need to do is f of 4. I need to figure out where that goes. Is f less than negative 2? Sorry, is 4 less than negative 2? No, so I'm not using the a, the first one. Is 4 in between negative 2 and 2? No, so I'm not using the one in the middle. Is 4 greater than or equal to 2? Yes, 4 is bigger than 2, so I'm using the one on the top. Sorry, bottom. So f of 4 equals negative x plus 6. I'm going to plug in a 4, so that gives me negative 4 plus 6, and that reduces to 2. So this one is 2, and this one is 1. Number 3. Number 3 says f of negative 2. Well, is f less than negative 2? Is negative 2 less than negative 2? No, negative 2 is not less than negative 2. So I move on to the one in the middle. Is negative 2 less than or equal to negative 2? Well, yeah, it's not less than, but it is equal to, so I'm using the one in the middle. Alright, so I plugged in negative 2 where the x was, and negative 2 has to go in parentheses. If you do not put it in parentheses in your calculator, then you will get a negative 4, and that is incorrect. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. So you get 4 plus 1, which is 5. 2. So I have to figure out where this goes. Is 2 smaller than negative 2? No. So I'm not using the one on the top. Does 2 fall between negative 2 inclusive and 2 exclusive? No. What I mean by inclusive is this negative 2 has an equal sign, so that means it's inclusive for the negative 2, but it's exclusive for the 2. There's no equal sign, so I'm not going to use that because this does not have an or equal to sign. So I go down to the bottom. Is 2 greater than or equal to 2? Well, yeah, 2 is equal to 2. So I'm going to use the one on the bottom. So that becomes negative 2 plus 6, and the answer is 4. And lastly, we have number 5, S of 1. We have to figure out where that falls. Is 1 less than negative 2? No, so I'm not going to use the one on the top. Does 1 fall between negative 2 and 2? Yes, so I'm going to use the one in the middle. And now I plug the 1 in. 1 squared is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. And that is all for today. Thank you.